Alright guys, today we have something insane. This is a VR Calais, and now while admittedly most VR Calais are not rare, this one is crazy. This is literally like it's just come out of the factory. It is crazy, and let me show you around it because there is not many VRs at all left like this, especially a humble Calais. I am so keen to share this with you guys. Everything about this car. It's like new, so let's get into it. So this car has been in the family since new, and it has been well looked after, garaged, detailed its entire life. It has really been babied, and that is showing everywhere. There is no damage. This car is completely original paint. Everything is original, and yeah, it's just the camera. I'm sure is not going to do it justice, but in person, it's just insane. So what I'm going to do quickly is just show you a few of the little things around the VR, that I'm familiar with these cars that always fail. So for example, while we're here, this pillar here, these always fade. And if you guys remember, I actually had my VM detailed recently and they polished this and it came up good, but it didn't come up like this. And this one is untouched. And even the SRS airbag sticker on the driver's side here, the corners aren't lifting, which they always do. And I have never seen a VR VS ever have as good of a condition. I don't know what you call this, the rear quarter rubber or the rear door rubber. Never ever seen one as good as that ever. And the other side is even better. I mean, this thing is just crazy. It's a real time warp, this car. And over the back here, you guys know these cars, the VR VS, and not just the Calais, but any of the SSs as well. Any of the ones with these grey indicators, they always crack. They always have those hairline cracks in the corners, and especially along this garnish. Nothing here, nothing. These look brand new. And I've just noticed as I'm filming this, you can still see the part number in the tail lights. That is just crazy. really cool. And again, all of the little rubbers that go around the tail lights against the body, they're all in good nick. All of the badges are original. They all still have their chrome. All of the chrome on the bumpers still has the clear on it. I absolutely love these wheels though. They are so cool. And these are obviously the original wheels, the VR Calais. And I don't know, they remind me of the VR Acclaim sort of style, but in a rim. And, while we're over this side of the car, as I said before, it's got all of its original gear. It's still got its little 3 stickers that it had from warranty from Holden up on the window there. Even the rubbers all along the doors here and in between the glass and the door, they're all new. If you told me this car had 50,000 Ks on it, I would 100% believe you, because it's just phenomenal. It is just phenomenal. And I don't know how to put it into words. It is really just, I'm just going to have to let the camera do the talking. But this car actually does not have 50,000 Ks. It has 160. But again, all original, extremely cared for. But if you think the outside is good, which it is, wait till you see the engine bay and the interior. I mean, it's wild. So this has got to be the cleanest Buick motor that I've ever seen. And this is not one of those ones that is a standard motor that is, covered in silicon. This is immaculate. This motor has been looked after since day dot, and it's just crazy. So going through the things in here, everything has been replaced, serviced, whatever, with original GM parts, including to this day still serviced with a GM filter. The rails are spotless. The brass on the ABS module is immaculate. It's still shiny. I mean, the brass on the headlight protectors, just everything from the master cylinder bracket, the tags are clean. I mean, everything. Like, honestly, every single thing in this engine bay is mint. How often do you see a Buick like that? Honestly, even the top of the radiator hose has its GM numbers, and you just never ever see them like this. One of my favourite parts about the whole bay, though, is the dipstick. It is shiny and clean. I mean, how often do you have a clean, shiny dipstick? And, just while I'm over here, I've just noticed that the mounts to pull the motor are nice and spotless. Obviously, the motor's never been out, but just everything from the factory Holden spark plug leads to, just everything. I don't even want to touch it because it's crazy. It really is phenomenal in here. And You know, if you guys know these motors or know these cars never look like this ever now, and they are never showing the care and love that this one has. So I think that you guys will really like this car. So it's not just the outside. Underneath the car is absolutely spotless, and I'll put my little camera in there and you guys can see how clean the rail is, and you can even see the blue of the washer fluid. Just before we get into the interior though, the door handles on this car are crazy. They are by far the best that I've ever felt with the VRVS, or sorry, V and the VS Commodore. They are just, they're wild. And I thought the ones on my VN were good, and they are, but this is like new. I don't really know how to show that on camera, but it is just so crisp. I mean, the door doesn't bounce, it closes nicely, and the rear doors are even better. And yeah, again, it just goes to show how immaculate this thing is. When I'm ever looking for clean original cars, especially for my own garage, this is one of the things that I always look for, because for whatever reason, the cars that have had a hard life, this is always one of the first things to go, I reckon. And I don't know why that is, but it is. So anyway, let's have a look in the interior. I have spent a lot of my P-Plate years, and you know, honestly, even after my P-Plate years in VRVS Commodores, and this is by far and away, it's not even close, the nicest one that I've been in. And the one thing immediately that I can't show you on camera is the smell in here. This thing, it smells like it's just been trimmed. It still smells new. It smells clean. It smells like leather, and it's it's just crazy. The other things in the interior here that really do it for me is the buttons on the steering wheel. First of all, I have never seen a VR with buttons on the steering wheel, and the stickering on the indicator stalk here is complete. The gap between the center console and the radio surround is as tight as anything, and that is because this interior has never been apart. Never in its entire life, and the radio has never been out. Nothing has been stuffed with. It's just, I don't even know how to explain to you guys what it is like sitting in this car. It's like a new VR, and if you're from my generation, which I know a lot of you are, you never got to experience anything like this, and this is as close as you're going to come. These are the cars that me and my mates were all into when we were 18, and seeing one maintained this well for so many years since it was new is just, I don't know, I'm probably repeating myself a bit, but this really is crazy. The one thing that it has had done in here is the headlining, but it has not gone to old mate and getting one for $150. It has been completely redone with original VR Calais materials, so no expense has been spared in keeping this prim and proper. Some other things in here as well that I've just thought of is all of those chrome trims that sit upon the door cards. They're not lifting, they're all in great nick. The steering wheel doesn't roll, it's as tight as anything. Now, this car has obviously never been smoked in, but the ashtrays, not only are they clean, but they don't have that weird surface rust that they always, even in all of the inner door jambs, it's all spotless, all around the pins. There's no spider webs and crap all in there. Like, it's just crazy. The trip computer, the hazard switch, I mean, everything in here is mint. All of the door rubbers are completely perfect. There is not an issue with any of them, and all of these trims, I don't know if you guys ever pulled these off to run sub-wiring or whatever, which is I definitely have. They're all perfect, and you know, they're a nightmare to get back down again. Inside all of the door jambs, not just around the window rubber, but you know, in where the pins are, everything is immaculate. All of these ashtrays are absolutely perfect. They are by far and away the best ones that I've ever seen. Not only have they not been used, the metal has no surface rust. It doesn't have any of that oxidization. You really, I mean, this is as good as a brand new part. And as you would expect, the boot is spotless. I mean, this thing is, it's cleaner than my bed. And even if you have a look in here, it's got its original Holden first aid kit, and there's some Pewed correct Holden scramble stuff. We've got Melways, which is of course very important for this age. So this is just insane. Obviously it's got all of its jacks and everything, and its spare wheel. So of course this car has all of its books, all of the brochures, and everything that comes along with that. And the listed price of this car back in '95 was $44,000. So because it was one of the last ones, he got a run out deal of $37,000, so $7,000 off the list price, which is pretty significant, especially because the new one was the VS, which is frankly, a very similar car. But enough talking, let's take this thing for a drive. I'm really excited. I am going to do like a point of view video with the camera, but this thing does not disappoint when driving. It drives as good as it looks. And, you know, if you guys have watched any of my videos, you know, I'm not about doing 0 to 100s and things like that. So that's not what we're going to do. All I wanted to do is show you guys how smooth this thing is. And obviously it is standard height. It still has the vast majority of its GM rubbers, and it's just, I don't even know how to explain it or show it on camera, but it drives so nicely. Like, no, obviously knocks suspension, but I'm sure if there is anything wrong with this car underneath, that it would get fixed pretty much instantly. But yeah, it is really nice to have this car that, you know, drives as good as it looks, and it just doesn't disappoint. It's really nice that this car drives as nice as it looks. So yeah, there is not a ton to talk about while driving it. It's super smooth, super comfortable, and this is probably as close as I'm ever going to get to driving a new one of these. You know, the auto shifts so nicely. It's hard to believe that it's the old Buick 3800. Sometimes you think, you know, my VR VSs are quite nice, but then you get behind this one, and this is just on a whole nother level. This really reminds me of that VN, the 4-cylinder one that I had in the shed. Not because of the 4-cylinderness, but because that one was actually a museum piece. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that. This has been one of my favorite cars that I've ever had on the channel. This really reflects my interest in cars, and I'm not just talking about, you know, this VR Calais, the car. It's more the condition of it. This has really tickled me pink. And there will be a proper review of this car coming. It's so exciting to be able to drive. This is as close as I'll ever be able to get to driving one of these cars new. And I don't know, the VR Calais is a really cool car. It's a very good color as well, this one. It's got all of the options that I would like if I was after one. You know, I love these partial leather seats, and it's really, really special, really, really cool. And I really want to thank Chris for loaning me this car, and also thank him for preserving this car, because it's a lot of money, time and effort to keep a car as good as this. You know, you can't just throw it under a cover. It doesn't work like that. It really has to be maintained, and that takes a lot of work. So thank you, Chris, for keeping this car as good as it is, and it's a real credit to you. So if you guys have any cars like this and you'd like to, you know, for me to come check it out, please get in touch. Thank you for watching, genuinely.